Welcome to Hardly, where books turn into 3 stories, refreshing your knowledge in minutes. Today, we listen to Dr. Daniel G. Amen's Raising Mentally Strong Kids, in which we explore how neuroscience and parenting psychology combine to build resilient and confident children. Daniel G. Amen, Maryland, is a clinical neuroscientist, child and adolescent psychiatrist, and medical director of the Amen Clinic for Behavioral Medicine in Fairfield, California. Don't go away, Hurdley, the editor, will be right back with the story. Let me take you through 3 stories that left a deep impact on me while exploring how neuroscience and parenting psychology intertwine to shape resilient and confident children. The first story comes from a single mother named Phoebe, who adopted a daughter named Jana. Jana was a bright girl, but she came with a long list of behavioral and learning difficulties: ADHD, oppositional defiant disorder, sensory integration disorder, to name a few. Phoebe and her husband, Sam, were new parents, and they were terrified of making mistakes. This fear led them to micromanage every aspect of Jana's life, from her diet to her homework, constantly trying to shield her from failure. Despite their best intentions, things only got worse. Jana became more defiant, and the household was in a constant state of tension. It wasn't until Phoebe and Sam were introduced to the concept of letting go that things began to change. They started allowing Jana to make her own choices, even if it meant she would fail. When Jana ignored her homework, Phoebe would calmly say, "We love you too much to argue about your homework. Your grades are your choice." Jana initially struggled with this newfound freedom, but over time, she began to take responsibility for her actions. The transformation wasn't instant, but by allowing her to face the consequences of her decisions in a controlled and empathetic environment, Jana started to thrive. She became more confident, more responsible, and less anxious. The simple act of giving her space to fail and learn from her mistakes made all the difference. The second story centers on a young boy named Dylan, who was part of a youth soccer team. Dylan was passionate about soccer, but his coach had a strict, no-nonsense approach that often left Dylan feeling anxious and under immense pressure to perform. After one particularly tough game where Dylan missed a crucial goal, the coach berated him in front of the entire team. That night, Dylan couldn't sleep, replaying the coach's harsh words in his mind. His parents noticed his distress and decided to step in, but instead of confronting the coach, they chose a different path. They sat Dylan down and asked him how he felt about the game and what he thought he could do better next time. This simple act of encouraging Dylan to reflect on his performance and express his feelings without fear of judgment was a game changer. They also discussed the importance of resilience and how every athlete, even the best, faces setbacks. Over the next few weeks, Dylan began to approach his practices differently. Instead of fearing mistakes, he started viewing them as opportunities to improve. His confidence grew, and so did his performance on the field. When the season ended, Dylan wasn't just a better soccer player. He was also more resilient, able to handle criticism and failure without losing his self-worth. The shift in his mindset was profound, all thanks to the way his parents handled that one tough moment. The third story involves a teenager named Emily, who struggled with anxiety and low self-esteem. Emily was a perfectionist, always pushing herself to excel in school, sports, and social settings. But the constant pressure she placed on herself led to frequent panic attacks and overwhelming stress. Her parents, though supportive, didn't know how to help her manage her anxiety. That changed when they learned about the connection between brain health and mental resilience. They introduced Emily to practices that promoted brain health: regular exercise, a balanced diet, mindfulness, and adequate sleep. But more importantly, they shifted the way they communicated with her. Instead of focusing solely on her achievements, they began to celebrate her efforts, no matter the outcome. They encouraged her to take breaks, to be kind to herself, and to understand that it was okay not to be perfect. This approach gradually helped Emily develop a more balanced perspective. She still worked hard, but the anxiety that once paralyzed her began to fade. Emily learned that her worth wasn't tied to her achievements, and with this newfound resilience, she started to enjoy life more fully. The changes in Emily were a testament to how nurturing the brain, combined with empathetic parenting, can foster incredible mental strength in young people. These stories highlight the profound impact that the combination of neuroscience and psychology can have on raising resilient and confident children. The underlying principle is clear. When we understand how the brain works and apply that knowledge in our parenting, we empower our children to face challenges head-on and grow stronger from them. The brain is central to every decision, emotion, and behavior, and by focusing on brain health, we lay the foundation for mental resilience. This doesn't just involve protecting the brain from harm, but actively nurturing it through healthy habits and supportive, empathetic parenting. By allowing children to experience failure in a safe environment, we teach them that setbacks are not the end, but a step toward growth. This approach not only builds confidence, but also fosters a deep-seated resilience that will serve them throughout their lives. As the editor of Hardly, by learning these lessons, we can foster a generation of individuals who are not just mentally strong, but also empathetic, confident, and ready to face the complexities of the future with resilience and wisdom. In understanding how neuroscience and parenting psychology work together to build resilient and confident children, we've seen how powerful this combination can be. By nurturing the brain through healthy habits and empathetic, supportive parenting, we equip our children to face life's challenges with strength and grace. One story that stands out involves a boy named Jake, who struggled with anger issues. Jake would often lash out at his siblings and friends, and his parents were at their wits' end. They learned about the importance of brain health and began to implement changes at home, such as improving Jake's diet, ensuring he got enough sleep, and introducing him to mindfulness practices. But the real breakthrough came when they stopped reacting with anger and instead responded with empathy. When Jake would start to lose his temper, his parents would calmly say, "It's okay to feel angry, but let's figure out why." This shift in approach helped Jake understand his emotions and gradually learn to control them. Over time, his outbursts became less frequent, and he began to communicate his feelings more effectively. Jake's transformation was a direct result of combining brain health strategies with psychological understanding. This journey has shown us that when we care for both the brain and the mind, we create an environment where our children can thrive. As the editor of Hardly, it's clear that by adopting these practices, we are not just raising mentally strong kids. We are raising a generation capable of handling whatever the future may bring.